Hello, my name's Ian Funnell. I'm a solution architect with Matillion. Today I'm going to be demonstrating how to set up and use GitHub version control with Matillion ETL for Snowflake. Let's get started. Starting off in my instance of Matillion ETL for Snowflake here. Now, Matillion uses JSON as the metadata file exchange format. So when you save or restore a job to and from its backup, then it will be in the form of a JSON file. I'll open an example job just for demonstration. Now, there's two different ways of getting hold of the metadata for integration with source code control. You can do export and import from the menu here, or you can use the REST API. And it's those two logical methods that we'll be focusing on in this video. I'm not going to look in this video at the manage backups, which is down here in the project menu. To take a backup of Matillion's job metadata from the user interface, there's actually two different ways of doing that. First of all, you can right-click on a job that you want to save, and it will bring up the interface here, and it's already ticked the one where you right-clicked. Or the second way, if maybe you've been working on lots of things throughout the day, you want to save them all, go to Project, choose Export, and then you can go through the list here and tick all of the ones that you want to include in the backup. Choose a file name and press OK, and choose the save option, and that will download that and save the JSON file onto your local workstation. In order to use the REST API, you'll need to have an appropriately privileged user, and I'm going to just check that now by going to the admin menu and the user configuration screen. I'm going to use the API user, and it does have a tick in the API box here. In order to demonstrate the REST API, I've gone out to the operating system shell here, and I'm going to issue a curl command. So curl is just a convenient way to invoke the REST API. So there's quite a few arguments on the command line here. I've got the -o to specify the target file name, a -k to turn off warnings about SSL certificates, a -x to specify the HTTP operation, which is a GET in this case, the -u to set my username and password, the -h is a required HTTP header. Here's the address of my Matillion server, and we're going to be using the REST endpoints here. And I also need to put as arguments the group name, the project name, and the version name that we want to export. Notice that I've changed spaces in the names for %20 signs. So let's run that. It'll go away across the network and bring that data back, and it's queried and it's brought back about a megabyte of data into the JSON file. Let's have a look at these files that we've been creating then. You can see the one that I selectively downloaded. That's about 60K in size because I only chose, I was selective about the jobs I chose. Whereas in contrast, the full backup is a lot bigger. It's more than a megabyte, and that's because it contains every job that's in my Matillion environment. So in order to put these into GitHub, I'll have to firstly initialize and then create a new branch, and then I can start to add the files, and I'll put the full backup in first and then the one with the selected jobs afterwards. I now need to commit that into the repository with a comment, and that's been committed up now into the GitHub source code repository. So switching roles then temporarily, if I now want to be on the receiving end of these files, I want to download them and bring them into my Matillion environment, I need to do the reverse, which I do with a branch command, and that will fetch the files out of GitHub and bring them onto my local file system from where I can import them into Matillion. Back to the web user interface, now that we've seen how to get Matillion's job definitions in and out of source code control as JSON files, if I was to accidentally delete these two jobs, or if I was trying to restore those into another instance of Matillion, I would just need to go to the import menu this time, browse for the file which I called selectedjobs.json, and then tick all of the ones that I want to import, press OK, and now those are safely restored back into my instance of Matillion here. It's very much the same story with the full project backup file that we created earlier using the REST API. Once you've retrieved that JSON file back from source code control, there's another curl command that you can use to restore this back into a Matillion instance. It's pretty similar to before, the main differences being that this time it's a -x post since we're pushing data back into Matillion. The endpoint is just projects this time, and the data that we're pushing back in the post command is the content of that full backup.json file. So let's run that now. This one actually failed because in fact there's already a project called that under the group, and it will refuse to overwrite the project if it already exists. In order to be able to demonstrate the curl import, I'm just going to go back to manage my project here and just rename that. Having renamed the project, I'm going to retry that curl command now. And this time it has restored the JSON file which I've taken from source code control, and it's brought that back into Matillion. I hope you found that demonstration of using GitHub with Matillion ETL for Snowflake helpful. For more information, you can visit matillion.com, or you can start a 14-day free trial at any time from the AWS Marketplace.